Good morning, everybody. I hope you're somewhere cozy and warm this morning. Huckleberry says good morning. All right, we're going to get started with our pranayama, our breathing exercise today. And for today, let's do a little bit of movement with our breath. It's going to be a very little bit. We're going to inhale, shrug our shoulders. Exhale, down and back. Don't roll in the carpet. Inhale it. Exhale, down and back. Take it at your own pace. Full inhale. Hold that downward pull of the shoulders until you're fully exhaled. Now take the arms out wide. Rotate the armpits open and forward. Deep inhale. Exhale, round. Give yourself a big hug. Open and close. Next time the arms are open wide, we'll take one over the top. Today I'd like to play with this idea of give and take, sharing and receiving. And so the breath is a fantastic way to represent this relationship, since it really proves that we need both the give and the take. We'll take it to the other side. And that we cannot receive without also returning what we've received. And bring it back up. Let's take the legs open wide to a straddle. And I want you to find your medium straddle. There's a little stretch there. It's not the biggest ever. We're going to find some movement. And then take the pelvis forward and back. So we're tipping that pelvis forward, pulling it back. And then with our torso, we'll twist to one side. Keep the torso lengthened as we twist. My arms are actually pressing down into the floor and my leg to help give me that height. And then the other side. Back to the center, and let's wiggle our legs just a little bit wider. There we go. Not so wide that you're leaning back on your tail. You want to still be able to be up tall, and we're going to push into one leg, roll the shoulder forward. Feel the stretch maybe down through the spine. And I'm kind of deepening this stretch over here at the same time as I push my leg away And then the other side. Ooh, got a few pops on that one. So one more time to the first side. And the second. All right. Bring yourself to both legs, both feet, over to one side. We're going to do something a little bit different with this back leg. We often warm up the hip this way. We're going to warm it up this time by trying to lift the heel off the floor. That lift might be very, very small, but it doesn't really matter where you are as long as you're feeling that effort, right? So give the pose what you have to offer. And as you do, over time, it'll start to offer you more. Excellent. Let's help it out. Let's reach back and grab for that foot. Maybe we can take it up a little higher than it was before. And we'll pull it towards the tail. It's tempting to get your elbow up and pull this way. I find that that gives me a fantastic cramp right here and tightens up my shoulders and neck, which I don't want. So I usually drop my elbow, drop my shoulder, and pull it in using my bicep strength instead. All right, let it go. We're going to do those heel lifts again. See if we can go a little higher this time now that the hip is a little bit more stretched out. Excellent. Bring both knees up in front of you. With the knees together, we're going to do that rotation again, trying to press the outer ankle away. Perfect. We'll take the legs over to the second side. You can warm up this hip for a moment, and then we'll focus on lifting the heel. And you might notice one side doesn't go as high as the other, just showing you your natural imbalances with both strength and flexibility from left to right. So our body naturally compensates. For example, when you've got an injured left foot, you might notice after a while your right knee starts to hurt because your leg has been doing so much more work on this side to help let this one rest and heal. All right, we'll take that foot, help it out, see what our range of motion is to its fullest extent. And the same thing happens with two sides of a joint. So the shoulders, for example, are often quite strong and tight in front and a little bit more weak in back. And so we're fighting this to open, to balance the joint. Because of that, or not the fight, but because we are more one-sided on the joint, we have a tendency to injure our shoulders. And so right now we're doing this with our hip. We're working on muscles that are weaker. Go ahead and let it go. And we'll play with that lift again. So you might be feeling your body wanting to cramp or something like that. So if you're feeling that, give it a moment, but I do encourage you to do these sorts of moves in small amounts more regularly if you're finding that this is extremely challenging. All right, bring that leg up in front. And we'll take the heel out. Lovely. Go ahead and cross at the ankles. If your knees don't like that, you can put the feet sole to sole. We're going to stick the tail out the back and lengthen into our own lap. You should be feeling a stretch probably in the muscles that we were just working. Bring it back up. We're going to, with a very straight, lengthened back, lean back until your tummy engages. Keep leaning back until your feet come up, and we're going to let them float. So we've got our little boat pose here, and this is a modification of a boat pose that I'm doing right now that's a little bit easier. You can take a full boat or whatever variation you like. You might even hold your thighs a little bit, but do keep your abdomen engaged and your neck long. We're going to cross our ankles, head forward again. Put the other ankle in front. If you're not sure which one was in front before, cross your legs in the way that feels a little bit awkward because you probably did the non-awkward one first. Lean it on back. We'll find your variation of a boat pose again, the one that's challenging but not impossible. Nice. Make your way up to hands and knees. We're going to take our rib cage and make a circle with it. Circle the other direction. Press the hips back towards the heels. Lengthen out the arms. Walk the hands forward until the tail lifts off the heels a little bit. Continue reaching the chest, the armpits towards the floor. press yourself back to the balls of your feet. Stretching out the bottoms of the feet. And then we'll play with forward fold to squat. Next time you're in forward fold, feel yourself lengthen towards the floor. The knees might be long or they might have a bend to them. We're not going to lock them backwards, okay? So we're not hyperextending the knees ever. And walk the hands forward. There we go, into a downward facing dog. So we're in a triangle-ish position. Press down through the knuckles of the fingers with the hands spread out wide like starfish. This is going to help relieve pressure from your wrists. And we're going to kind of pedal these feet. So bend one knee and one hip forward while the other one goes straight. Remember, we're not hyperextending, but we are looking for that long position. Let it stretch through the hip. And then both legs long and stationary again. Slowly walk the feet forward up to your hands, and do take your time here. Make your way on up to standing. Arms up high overhead. Exhale, hands to heart space. We're going to shift our weight left and right. And then forward and back. I'm leaning back far enough that my toes are coming off a little bit, and you'll notice that my tail's sticking out. All right, now we're going to really challenge those core muscles again. When we lean back, we're not going to stick the tail out. We're still rocking, weight on the heels, but not sticking the tail out. Excellent. Press down through those feet. Feel the strength of your feet connecting to the floor. Feel that strength run all the way up through your legs, through your core, through the top of the head. Inhale, we'll take the arms wide and overhead. Shoulders stay low, so we have really long arms. We're going to bring the left hand down to our hip and the right arm over the top. Notice that your outer hip tries to sneak out behind you. Press that forward. And then your upper armpit tries to roll forward. We're going to pull that back. So outer hip forward, upper armpit back. And the other side. outer hip forward, upper armpit back. It feels like you're twisting, but actually you're lining yourself back up from being twisted. And unwind. We're going to take both arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Breathe in, half lift. Hands go wherever is right for you to support you with that strong core for the spine. Exhale, back down. Take the right leg way back behind you. Big stretch back, low lunge. And we're going to take some time to get into these hips, right? We worked them out earlier. We're going to stretch them out now. In fact, let's really go hog wild on this. How high can you get that hip? How low can you get the hip? Nice. Let's get the hip as low as possible. In fact, you might even start to get it close to the ground. If you're close to the ground, I want you to go ahead and wiggle your foot away a little bit until you can get it all the way down. Yeah, go ahead and drop that right hip all the way down so you're sitting on the side of the hip. The body is really rotated to the side here. I've got a lot of stretch happening through the glutes. A lot of stretch happening down low on the waist. I'm going to take that heel out there and I'm going to try to lift it. Now this is definitely a try for me. I'm trying to pull it up and I'm going to hold that try for a few seconds, okay? So it's not just I'm going to really feel that engagement of the inner thigh, trying to lift that leg and then release. Optimally, you would hold that attempt to lift for 10 seconds. That gives the muscles time to have that chemical reaction to go, oh, this really is what the person wants to do. I really do want to go in this direction. This isn't a random thing. Then we relax. All right, now let's change this up a little bit, see what it looks like. We're going to drop our upper body. You can drop to your elbow or you can come all the way down and we're going to do our lifts. Here we go. Up and down. And it might be possible that that foot still doesn't get off the ground. So we're going to keep doing that 10-second attempt and release. If you are coming up off the ground, that 10 seconds isn't really as necessary. And let it go. We're going to bring this knee down to the ground. Yep, so that knee that was sticking up in the air down to the ground and roll to your belly. So I've got one knee out here, same leg out back. Gonna take a big stretch. And you can do this down low. I like a little bit deeper stretch. So I'm just gonna lift myself up. All right, we'll bring the hands under the armpits, balls of the feet to the floor, press yourself up, step back to a downward facing dog. take the right leg up high behind you, and you know, we're just going to go as high as we can. Stretch out those hips. Swing it forward, low lunge. Forward fold. All the way up. And hands to heart space. Feel a connection to the ground. Strength moving upwards. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Half lift. And back down. Left leg steps back. And again, we're going to play with this hip. Up and down. Making those movements bigger as you warm up into it. And then try to bring that hip all the way to the ground. Wiggle your foot further away as needed. And see if you can lift that heel out there, out back. If not, a 10-second attempt to lift, and make sure that you breathe through that attempt. And then release. Up and down at your pace. If you can actually get your ankle up and down off the ground, you go ahead and do those lifts more regularly as opposed to holding for 10. These are the muscles that are going to help keep you from doing the splits when you hit an icy step this winter. And lower yourself on down. Lift and lower. All right, drop this upper knee down to the ground, roll to your belly, either all the way down or up on your elbows. I've heard this called lizard before. It is an amazing move for reducing low back pain as well. All right, balls of the feet, hands under the armpits. press yourself up and back to downward facing dog. Left leg high behind you. And swing it forward, low lunge. Step together, forward fold. Breathe in, come all the way up. And hands to heart space. Next, inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Breathe in, half lift. Exhale, back down. Right leg steps back. Right hand is going to stay on the ground. The left arm is going to lift to the sky. We're going to keep this knee squeezed to our chest as tightly as we can. And our back knee is really reaching up towards the ceiling. But again, remember, not hyperextended. We're going to step back to a plank. You can either put your hand down and then step back, or you can step back to a side plank and then put your hand down. Exhale, press your tail up and back, downward facing dog. Right leg high behind you. This time we're going to bend the knee, lift the hip as high as you can, really get that stretch through the front of the hip and thigh. And then swing it forward, low lunge. Forward fold. Bring it all the way up. Hands to heart space. Find the ground beneath you. Notice the give and take of your breath. The give and take of your pressure into the floor with your feet. Because you're pressing down, you're able to lengthen up. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Breathe in, half lift. And back down. Left leg steps back. Rotate. Our right arm will go to the ceiling. Keep that thigh really close to the heart. Rotate as much as you can. And you might notice that your arch tries to come off the floor, the arch of your foot. Press it down. Find your way to plank, whichever way you prefer. Exhale, tight tummy. Press the tail to the ceiling. Strengthen through those fingers. Bring your left leg up and over for that scorpion dog. Bending the knee, opening up the hip. Both arms stay long. Sometimes we tend to bend one elbow. And bring the leg forward. Low lunge. Forward fold. All the way up. hands to heart space. Take a big step out to the side. We're going to play with some straddles. We worked a lot of those inner thighs today. Let's get them lengthened back out. We're going to start by turning our right toes out to the right. So you're going to feel this shift through the pelvis. All of a sudden, one hip drops. Keep it dropping. Find that energy down. Lengthen your arm down as far as you can while keeping the spine straight. So as soon as you round, you've gone a little bit too far, come back up. But do tailbone is reaching away from the top of the head. Maybe your other arm comes up. Now right now, since I'm focusing on flexibility, I've got my weight on my hand, on my leg, or the ground. A lot of times when we do this Trikonasana, this triangle pose, we're engaging, we're feeling our upper body being held by our own strength and not by the support of the hand. But for this one, we're just gonna chill into it. See how stretchy we can get those hamstrings and adductors. Bend into the right knee. Maybe you slide your other leg back. Side angle pose. Bring both hands down to the mat so you're in this like low lunge. Press the leg long and walk your hands to the middle. Rotate your hips. So we've got the straddle right down the center, tail in the air, head towards the ground. And just like we played with in the beginning of class, gently rock forward and back on your feet just a little bit because I want you to feel the different stretches that are available in there for you. All right, soften the knees. Make your way to standing up. Maybe you use your hands to help. Maybe you don't. This time we'll turn our left leg out to the side. Press down through the hip. And again, explore with how far down your arm goes while keeping the torso long and straight. Pushing that tail away from your head, away from the front foot. Bend into the knees, side angle pose. Maybe you scoot your back leg further back. Maybe bring your elbow to rest on your thigh. And both hands down to the mat. Lengthen the leg. Walk your hands back to the middle. Rotate those toes. They're going to both face straight forward, parallel to one another, like you're standing on railroad tracks. Drop your head back down towards the floor. Lengthen your torso, so tail is going up, head is going down. Excellent. Let's come up on our hands. And we're going to place our right hand right under our face. So my spine is pretty long at this point. I'm no longer trying to reach my head to the ground. And I'm going to lift my left arm up, squeezing my shoulder blades towards my spine, trying to rotate my torso to one side as much as I can. You'll notice that your hips try to shift to one side. Try to push them in the opposite direction. Bring it on back. We will switch sides. And switch. And switch. Bring it on down. Bend those knees. Make your way to standing up. We're going to play with a balancing pose before we get down on the floor. Very simple one today. We're going to do tree pose. So we're going to turn out one knee. Let's do our right one now. And I want you to feel the hips, right? So when we turn out our knee, there's a tendency to drop the hip. But we're going to try to level the hips instead. Feel how your abdomen engaged. And then we'll play with lifting the foot. How far up your leg does it come? Maybe it stays down here like a kickstand, but the pelvis stays engaged. Maybe it comes up quite high. If it's uncomfortable to put the heel like against the other knee, don't put it there. Maybe your hands staying close, maybe they go out wide for more balance assistance, but I want you to keep engaging, pressing down, giving the floor your energy so that it can give you its stability. Breathe. And let it go. We'll switch sides. Turn it out. Level the pelvis. So a lot of times that feels like pressing down through the arch of your foot. We'll play with lifting the other leg. So in this game of give and take, remember to breathe. And let it go. Make your way on down to the floor. Lay on your back. We're going to strengthen the abdomen a little bit by lifting the knees up off the floor. Lengthen your spine. Stretch the arms out wide like airplane wings. And we're going to slowly and controlled drop the knees to one side. Only go down as far as you can control it. And then bring it back up. Take it to the other side. And bring it back up. Now, if you would like more challenge than this, be my guest. We do that by simply lengthening the legs a little more or a lot more. So just like that, I got stuck. I realized I can't bring it up. I can't do one more rep. So I'm just going to bend my knees to bring it up so I'm not injuring myself. All right. Place those feet on the floor and we'll take the knees open wide. We have done a lot of inner thigh work, so we're going to give that time to open and relax. Feel the back of your pelvis all the way down to your tailbone, heavy against the floor. And then lengthen out the legs. Settle in for your Savasana, your resting pose that's traditionally done lying on your back. The legs a comfortable distance apart, the arms palms up by your sides. If you need a pillow under the knees or the head, now's the time to grab it. And now is definitely the time for those last wiggles and squirms and stretches. Any last things? And as your body settles into stillness, allow your eyes to close, your lips to soften, and your tongue to become still in your mouth. This pose is about giving ourselves time, giving our mind time to rest. Oftentimes there's a monologue going on in our head. And when that happens, oftentimes there's tiny movements in the mouth as your mouth tries to speak the words to you. So if you find that you're narrating in your head, focus on stilling the tongue, bringing the entire mouth completely to rest. Feel the tongue as it widens and softens. Feel the jaw as it relaxes. And you could imagine feeling the teeth from where they gently meet together, all the way down to the roots in the jaws, feeling relaxed. Feel how the cheeks soften and those closed eyelids melt. Warmth radiating from the forehead down along the scalp, through the hair and back of the neck. And now return your awareness to the room that you're in. And we'll start movement beginning in the mouth. Open your jaw, stretch it wide, maybe yawn or stick out your tongue. And then let that movement roll down through the neck and shoulders, radiating out your arms to the hands. And eventually your whole body moves and squirms. Allow yourself to hold this stillness of the mind with you as you make your way up to sitting. We'll bring our hands to Anjali Mudra, this space in front of the heart. And we'll let a thought rest in our mind that gives us a sense of gratitude. Together, we'll take a deep breath in and out. And on the exhale, I invite you to Om along with me. We'll take a deep breath in. Thank you.